I am alright. There's something about the way you make me feel inside. I'm counting down the days till we fly away, heading to the sun, only you and me. Don't wanna waste another day being stuck here in this place. No, wanna hold your hand in mine, watch the sunset in your eyes. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Wow, wow. This could be magical. Wow, wow. To escape, and here we are, driving narrow streets in a rusty car, leading to the sea. Think we're getting close. We should take a pic, baby, strike a pose. I remember every day that I spent right here with you. Yeah, you are the one who makes me feel as good as I do. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Wow, wow. This could be magical. Wow, wow.
This is going to be a conversation about consent. Oh, what? You thought this was a video about dogs? Oh, it is. Because guess what? Consent is for dogs too. If you don't know me, I'm Jennifer and I'm a dog trainer, and I am all up in arms today because I have a dog who will growl and snarl and snap, and it makes people uncomfortable. But here's why you care. If you've got a dog, your dog will growl and snarl and snap. You may never have seen it, but that doesn't mean that there's not a point at which they might feel pushed to do those things. And that's okay. That's totally normal. That is just dog communication. But it's in our culture not to allow them to communicate in those ways. And that I don't think is okay. So we should actually be thanking them for this warning system, this built-in warning system that they have, because all those things are ways of warning us off before they feel pushed even further to actually have to bite, or maybe, bite with damage. Those are things that puts everybody at risk, not only humans, but other dogs, and the dog that bites them, that themselves is the biter. It puts everybody at risk. So the growl, the snarling, the snapping, all of those ways of communicating that make us uncomfortable, we should be thanking the dogs who do those things, truly. So this disconnect, this thing where we don't feel that dogs should be allowed to do those things, it really does a disservice to dogs and to humans. It does a disservice to everybody. And so that's why today I'm here to advocate for dogs. Now, usually I I like to be silly and keep things lighthearted, and I can just feel myself getting into like like serious mode. I'm wearing black today. We're serious. But because it's important, it is. But yeah, I don't know. It is important. That's why I feel we got to talk about it. We do. We have to. Because no matter how many times we talk about it, I still see it everywhere. It is all over the internet. It is, I mean, I see in out in the world, on the internet, in my own home, all the time. I see people still not getting it, and dogs are suffering for it, and people are suffering for it, and it's just, if we just had a little bit of clarity, the world would be so much better. It really would. So let's go. Let's do this. So just so I've said it again, all those behaviors: growling, snarling, showing their teeth, snapping at people, even like chasing down, even biting, frankly. All of those things are ways that dogs communicate. It is ways that they express discomfort or fear or anything that we might lump under upset feelings. And it is them raising their voice, certainly. If they have to escalate to the growling, snarling, snapping, biting, all those things. They have other ways that probably preceded all of that stuff, that where they're trying to tell us or another dog perhaps to back off. They need space. Those sorts of messages. And when we don't respond appropriately, or when another dog doesn't respond appropriately, that dog feels they need to raise their voice. That's when you get the growling. That's when you get the snarling, barking, snapping. And it's loud because their other ways of communicating weren't heard. They weren't listened to. And yeah, if we or other dogs learn to pick up on and respond appropriately to the early signals, then guess what? You never get the growling and the snarling and snapping. Yeah. So there is no situation where the word shouldn't should be included in this conversation. You shouldn't decide how someone else gets to feel, including dogs. We don't get to decide how they feel about certain situations. Especially because they're animals and they don't have all of the higher cognitive processing abilities that we do. They're responding to their environment, of which we are a part, and they feel the way they feel, and we don't get to decide how they feel. We can influence how they feel, but we don't get to force them into situations that where they feel inappropriate, and we don't get to decide that something that makes them uncomfortable shouldn't isn't a part of this. It's just not. I mean, we are the ones with the big brains, so use it. If you don't want to get bitten, you shouldn't continue to put them into situations where they feel the need to create space. And so what kind of situations might a dog feel that need? Can you think of something? I mean, it could be anything. There really are no wrong answers to this question. What situations might a dog feel the need to create space? It might be the sort of situation where they're being approached. It might be they're being reached for. It might be that they're being picked up or petted or kissed or hugged. All of those might make a dog feel uncomfortable and might make them feel the need to create space from you or from other dogs or from somebody. It could be being touched in any sort of way. Doesn't matter. Any body handling, anything where their body's being touched might make them feel uncomfortable, depending on the dog. Being looked at with eye contact especially. It could be being cornered or being loomed over, being pushed or pulled, yanked in any sort of fashion. It could be being hit or sprayed or, like I said, anything at all. Do you guys have, can you think of other situations where a dog might feel the need to create space? I mean, the latter ones on that list are pretty obvious. Those are all pretty aggressive behaviors on our part. And so, of course, they might feel the need to defend themselves. But how about the first things on this list? That's just we're just showing love, right? Like, a dog shouldn't growl at me when I'm just showing love to them, right? There's that word shouldn't again, and it's not part of the conversation. Can't be. I don't care how big or small the dog is. I don't care how young or old you are. I don't care how well you know the dog. I don't care how much you love the dog, and I don't even care how much the dog loves you. People who we love and who love us back have feelings and boundaries about how to be touched and how to share space with us, and so do dogs. And we should respect those boundaries, really. So yeah, I mean, we teach small children how to behave around animals, right? We give them instruction around what's appropriate and what's not. If we're responsible, we do that. And that is to keep the children safe, and it is to keep the dogs safe. And yet, we still see adults who are simply, they either do not know how, or they just do not respect dogs' bodies and feelings and space and stuff. We just don't respect that dogs have feelings about those things. And I mean, even worse, we say that they shouldn't have feelings about that stuff, or that they should just defer to us in all things, and we should be able to take what we want and touch what we want, and like, ew, no, that's gross. We have unrealistic expectations about what dogs should, and there's that word again, about what they should tolerate. It's like, it's as if we get it in our heads that we're like, well, I'm the human, and I'm the adult, or I'm the owner, and I am entitled to do with your body what I want. And guess what that sounds like? Let me say this loud and clear for everybody in the back. Touching animals is an earned privilege, not a given right. Just again, in case you didn't hear it, touching animals is a privilege, not a right. It doesn't matter what your relationship is with said animal. It's a privilege, not a right. And it's not, it's not funny, right? This is what really gets me. I mean, you probably couldn't count the number of funny videos and GIFs and memes out there where someone is touching an animal in a certain way, and the animal is reacting with usually a snarl or a growl or a snap. And sometimes the way that those expressions look on a certain dog, the sounds that they make, maybe the faces that they make, people find it amusing. They share it because it's funny. And for every dog trainer who sees what I see there, it breaks our hearts. They're torturing that animal. I mean, that's really what it is. And the thing is, like, in these videos, usually they don't just do it once and the animal responds and then that's it. In the videos, the humans continue to do the thing that causes the dog to react that way. And this is Not funny. This is abuse. This is harassment. This is assault. And it is not okay. Oh my God. Like, yeah, sorry guys. Like I said, I'm just like, I'm so upset for dogs today. Anyway, yeah, and those videos, you know, a lot of times, actually, recently, I have seen more popping up here and there where, like, so the person does something to a dog who's like hanging out really close to the person. They look, you know, like the dog looks like they want, you know, to be close. They want cuddles, they want attention, or they want something from the human, and it's that's great. And then the human like goes in to cuddle them or to pet them or kiss them or something, and then the dog shows their teeth or they growl or both. And the person like does this and they laugh about it and they back off a little bit, and then the dog solicits more attention and affection. And this pattern repeats. The person leans in and does something, and the dog snarls and growls. So they back off, laugh, and then the dog is like, no, but I want more. And the person's like, ah, and the dog snarls and growls again. And it's like, the human is laughing because they're like, I don't know what you want. You're giving me conflicting signals. This is like, do you want love or do you not? Hey, Paul. Jennifer Fury. Yeah, you know, I have a lot of fury. You tend to show up on all the days where I'm like in Jennifer Fury mode. I don't. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So yeah, in these videos, it's like usually, in all of the ones that I've seen so far, I can pick out one thing that the person is doing that is making the dog uncomfortable. And it's so sad because it's like, yes, the dog wants affection. You know, as social beings like we are and like dogs are, of course we want to be close. Of course we want affection. Of course we want to feel this connection. Quest Technology Management. Hi. YouTube sends me a Jennifer Fury alert. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, usually I can pick out something that the person is doing that's making the dog uncomfortable. They want the connection. We want the connection. Of course we do. That's what relationships are all about. And that's great. But it's like the dog doesn't want to leave because they do want some form of affection. But then the human goes and does the thing that makes the dog uncomfortable. And it's like, if they would provide affection in a way that the dog felt was appropriate, everybody would be happy. They wouldn't have a funny viral video, but like they wouldn't be torturing their dog either. So it's hard, it's a tough decision, right? And it's just, it shows that there's a miscommunication. There's a lack of understanding on the human's part. Like they just don't understand, what does their dog want? What are they asking of them? And you could just like throw your hands up like, conflicting signals. I don't know what you want. I don't know. Or you could learn about your dog's body language and you could puzzle it out. What is it that I'm doing? In some of these videos, it's bringing their head, their face, their mouth. It's the kissing. It's the like, I don't want your face close to my face. I'm sorry. Like, just pet me. Give me ear scratches or like, I don't know. But I don't like that thing that you're doing. I don't like when you're wrapping your arms around me. I feel restrained and it makes me feel unsafe. Like, what is the thing that they're doing? Paul, Jennifer Fury portrait. Is that our next photo session? Upset Jennifer. That's, yeah. Hey, Daddy, welcome. So glad you talked about this subject. Not a dog owner, but I have friends who don't know how to handle their dogs. It's so common, you guys. It's so incredibly common. If you don't think this is you, it might be you. Like, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not even saying this, like, yes, I'm in Jennifer Fury mode, but I'm not even saying this in like a judgmental way. Like, I do things that my dog doesn't like too. The difference is that I try to pick up on it and then stop doing those things. or stop doing it in the moment, right? Sometimes it's just about the timing, and or the place. It's like, oh, you don't like it like that, or you don't like it right now, or you don't like it's okay in here but not out there, or it's okay when he does it but not me. Like, yeah. Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
Thanks for turning me onto that system.
You're welcome. Yeah, so we got to ask ourselves these questions, because you have those things, right? If I mean, think of the conversations that we're having around consent today. I said this was going to be about consent, and it is, because how like it's like, okay, let me think of a couple examples. And I'll yeah, let me think of a couple examples. If someone were to say, if you guys heard the tea analogy, is I think the most brilliant one. If you haven't heard the like whole consent tea analogy, like Google it. It is effing brilliant. But a simplified version is like, okay, if someone offers you a cup of tea and you're like, yes, I would love some tea, and then they like go and make the tea and they put sugar in it and hand it to you, and you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I like tea, but I can't drink it if it's got sugar in it. Like, I don't want the tea anymore. And they're like confused. It's like, but you wanted the tea. Are you going to then force them to drink the tea? No. Like, there's a boundary there. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So if someone, have you ever like been with a friend or a partner or somebody, you're eating and they ask for a bite of your food? Say it's a sandwich. Hey, can I try your sandwich? Can I take a little bite? And then like bite off half the sandwich. This has happened to pretty much all of us, I think, right? Like, you're like, what the F? Like, that wasn't okay. Yes, of course, I wanted to share my sandwich with you. That's nice, and we're friends, and like, cool. But like, you took half my freaking sandwich. Like, there's a boundary there. And then like, I mean, we could go there. We could go like to bedroom examples. Like, I mean, there are a million, right? Yeah, I wanna like be with somebody, but like if all of a sudden they like try and put something where they shouldn't, like there's a boundary there, right? You could think of 100 billion examples like this where you're like, yes, I want to be close to you. I want to share it with you. I want to, have a connection, a relationship with you. But like, you took it too far. And this is where we go wrong with dogs. They want to be close. They do. They really do. But they have boundaries, and they're not all the same. Every dog is an individual, just as we are. And if we want to have a healthy, respectful relationship with them, it is a two-way street. It is so upsetting to hear people talk about dogs like they should just put up with whatever we do to them. They should just tolerate anything. Like, no. Yeah, I am spilling the tea today. It's Floyd says, sounds like you're giving your dog respect as you would expect respect. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And I think a lot of people do get this. They really do. It's just that sometimes, and like I said, this is me included, sometimes we misread, or we didn't see some kind of communication from them, and we overstep the boundaries. The difference is in, can we recognize that and then respect that they've raised their voice, respect that they've growled at us? Like, there's a couple places where we go wrong with this. It's like, I see some people who it's like, yeah, I totally respect my dog, totally don't want to make them uncomfortable, but if they growl at me, that's not allowed in my house. Like, that's not okay. Like, if someone did something to you that made you uncomfortable and you were like, hey, stop that, and then that person like smacked you for yelling at them, like, what? No, you if someone like punished you for speaking up for yourself, that's, first of all, you're like no, I don't want to know you anymore. Like, that's not okay. I don't like, this is an unhealthy relationship. I'm leaving. And so of course with our dogs, like, that's going to break their trust in you. That is going to possibly, and this is actually, yeah, this is what happens a lot. This is going to make your dog maybe not want to growl at you, but guess what that means? Next time they're uncomfortable, if they can't speak up for themselves, you're going to continue to make them uncomfortable until they feel the need to speak up even louder and snap at you or bite you. And then what happens? The person who didn't put up with the growl is certainly not going to put up with the bite. People rehome dogs for this. People put dogs down for this, when the dog was simply speaking up for themselves. And the people, like, that person, the person who's like on that trajectory, they probably don't even know. They don't even realize what's happening. But we don't, we don't punish dogs for growling or even snapping or barking or bite. Like, we don't punish those things because, and this like, I love analogies. Analogies are so good. And this is one of the best ones I've ever heard. I think Dr. Ian Dunbar was probably the first to say this, that punishing a dog for growling is like taking the ticker out of a time bomb, or removing batteries from your smoke detector. Does that mean the bomb's not going to go off? Does that mean there's not a fire? Nope. You still have that problem. It's just that we don't know about it. And if there's a problem, you want to know about it. That's why we love the growl. Respect the growl. We thank the dog for growling. You guys. Like, yes, it still makes me uncomfortable. Like, it's still like, ooh, I still get that like pit in my stomach if I'm being growled at, or a dog is growling at somebody else near me. I'm still like, ooh, like, okay, what's going, like, yeah, I still get that icky feeling. But I respect it. You can bet I respect it. Let's see. I am talking about bombs. Yeah. I mean, it's explosive, right? When a dog like reacts in a big way like that, things that make us go like, holy hell, what? Yeah, it's like a bomb. It's like a fire. It's a problem. It's just that we're dealing with feelings, and feelings are a difficult subject for most humans. We don't get educated in recognizing feelings in ourselves or in others. We don't get educated in how to respond to them. This is an area that is severely lacking. And I am talking about humans like right now, but it absolutely extends to dogs. Love the hair. Thank you. Yeah, I got my hair cut yesterday. You can hardly tell. I didn't get too much taken off, but it always feels nice, right? Yeah. So yeah, anyway, the point, we are social beings. Dogs are social beings. We do want to have that closeness, that connection, that relationship. And to do all of that safely and comfortably for everybody involved, we have to have boundaries with everything. And it's never okay to push someone's boundaries when they're not ready for it. Never. Because guess who pays the price for that ignorance when it comes to dogs? The dogs do. They always do. When your lack of self-awareness or empathy to interact appropriately with dogs, like when that's the case, the dog pays the price. They lose their home. They lose privileges. They lose, sometimes, even their life. So, yeah. Yeah, we call bullshit on the dog abuse / harassment / assault. Thank you, Dottie. Yes. Putting this one up there. I'm calling bullshit. And yes, I'm using bad words today because that's the kind of mood I'm in. Yeah. Because you guys, dogs who bite are not bad dogs. That, I feel like that needs to be said again. Dogs who bite are not bad dogs. Because all dogs have a boundary where they would be pushed to bite. For some dogs, it's way up here, and good for that dog and good for the people that interact with it. Some dogs just aren't that way. And we got to accept those dogs for who they are too. And we got to set up their environment for them to feel comfortable and to be set up for success. That's what they need in their life. And sometimes that does mean that a certain home isn't appropriate for that dog. But they're not bad dogs. It just means that they're not in the right environment. So yeah, dogs who bite they're not morally inferior to dogs who have not bit yet, or have not bit. They are merely setting clearer, louder boundaries, and their boundary might be down here versus up there. And if them setting those boundaries makes you uncomfortable, you got to look at your own behavior. What did you do to make that dog feel uncomfortable? I feel like that's where I might lose a lot of people, because introspection, self-analysis, a lot of people can't handle that. Especially when we're talking about your behavior with animals, because we are the superior beings, right? We are their masters, their owners. They should, again, that word, they should just do what we want, and they should respect us, and they should obey us. Oh, obedience, that word. Yeah. Critical, important insights. Thank you. Floyd, cursing is a human equivalent of growling. I don't want to know what your equivalent of giving a nip is. I mean, yeah, that's Floyd. Thank you. Here, I'm gonna put this up there so you guys can read it. But it's beautiful. There are absolutely human equivalents. We might say that growling is the equivalent of what's a good one? I'd say, okay, it's above giving a look. That's one below growling. That's when, dogs will give a look too, or they'll walk away, or that's the quieter version. And growling, we get up to, cursing or raising your voice, yelling, snarling and snapping. I don't even know. I made a little ladder for this long ago. I think it's in one of these videos back there. But there absolutely are human equivalents. And even once you get up to biting, that might be smacking somebody upside the head. And even when you get to bite, this blew my mind. A colleague of mine did an interview pretty recently with someone who was studying the language around dog bites, and it was absolutely fascinating, because the point that they were making, or one of, was that even what people define as a bite varies so widely. Some people would say a dog who just air snapped at you, didn't even make contact. Some people would say, oh, he bit me. Whereas for me, I'm no, he didn't. He's got to actually make contact with you for it to be a bite. And then even among bites, there are levels of bites. There's we use a scale based on how much damage is done. Is it a bite if the dog did make contact with teeth but didn't cause any damage? Is that a bite? How people, and you can answer me. I actually do answer me. I'm really curious. How do you guys define a bite? What has to happen for you to be oh, that dog bit me? Because it matters, because of course, there are laws around this. There are dangerous dog laws, and what happens to dogs who express that discomfort in a way that makes us uncomfortable, but they haven't done any damage. If we define bite at that low of a level, that's not really fair to dogs. So yeah, what even is a bite? But anyway, it's, I'm getting so off track here. blood equals a bite for me. Yeah. Anybody else have an answer? Like, I think the point here is that, like, if we all have different definitions, and I'm kind of with you, Floyd, like, I think, yeah, for me, if there's blood. What about bruising? What if there's no actual punctures, but you get some bruising? How about that, guys? Does that still count? Because, yeah, there's, it totally, and the thing is this, the same dog applying the same amount of pressure on one part of your body versus another, like one might cause punctures and or blood, and another on a bite on the same bite on a different part of your body might not, right? On one part of your body might, like, I mean, this happens, like, if anybody who's ever worked in a dog daycare, especially, or dog walks, like, if you've had a lot of experience around dogs, you know this very well, that if a dog gets bitten or snapped at and it happens to be on their ear, it looks like an effing massacre. Like, there's blood everywhere, but it might not have actually been that bad of a bite, you know? Like, so Floyd and Karen, like, does your criteria remain the same if is it simply still just blood that's a bite? You know? And the reason this matters is because if everybody has different definitions of what counts as a bite, how do you make laws based on that? How do you keep everybody safe by saying, like, oh, this dog is too dangerous to live in society, if all of our definitions are different, you know? I mean, I worry about this, like, as a dog owner, I worry about this, like, anybody who has a dog, like, that is your responsibility, and it's a liability, and that's why we care so much about making sure that our own dogs are not put into situations where they feel the need to escalate. This is what it's all about, guys. It's about advocating for your pups, because that's, if their way of communicating makes humans uncomfortable, and they are subject to like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. Thank you, Daddy. Love your examples. Boundaries are so important. They really are. Karen's, oh yeah, okay, so Karen, you're already ahead of it. But sometimes when you're playing with your dog, they can draw blood. Absolutely. Does intent matter? You know, like, if they accidentally, that didn't mean to put that in quotes. If they accidentally bit you hard enough that it hurt, or bit you hard enough that it drew blood, but they truly, like, it was all in play, does that still count? I mean, it's like, I don't know. You guys, you should go watch this other video. It's brilliant, you guys. And even for me, it was really eye-opening. It's like, wow, like, there's so much. It's so foggy. It's just not clear in how we talk about this. And again, that's why language matters so much, and defining terms very clearly, it matters so much. Protects our dogs. Circumstantial, yeah, Paul. And Floyd says, nope, that is a nip. Bruising is still a warning. And you know, my definition does change if it's dog to dog versus dog to human. Yeah, see, so you're illustrating my point here beautifully, Floyd, and it's that, like, it kind of all just depends, right? It just depends. Depends on context. Thank you, Paul. Like, yeah, so anyway, point being, like, I mean, we're kind of getting off into, like, dogs actually biting now, which this today's video wasn't even about biting. I really didn't even mean to go there. It's really about, let's recognize the ways that dogs communicate that they're uncomfortable way before they're even at the point of biting, so that they never get to that point, right? Like, you never feel the need to actually, like, physically push someone away, or God forbid, stab someone, you know? Like, we have self-defense laws for us, right? Because if someone is putting us in a situation where we feel uncomfortable and threatened and put in danger, like, all of a sudden those same behaviors, like, you can't just go walking down the street stabbing people But if someone is attacking you and you feel like your life is threatened, all of a sudden, the same behavior, stabbing, oh, suddenly that's okay? Suddenly that's legal? I don't know. I didn't look this up, but like, right? You get it. For dogs, how about we just not put them in that situation where they feel uncomfortable in the first place? And I mean, and this is kind of like we went down this road, right, where we're talking about bites and serious bites and like what and what happens to those dogs who do bite and all this stuff, like, but the thing is, once you start to recognize the earlier signs, and then you see those funny viral videos where people are like doing these things to dogs, like, guess what? Those dogs who are growling and snarling and snapping, like, some of them might be this close to biting. So why are we continuing to put them in that situation where they're making that funny noise or they're making that, you know, that funny snarly face? Like, it's not funny. They're genuinely trying to tell you, I am uncomfortable. I am drawing a line. I'm drawing a boundary, and you are not respecting it. Like, how is there supposed to be trust in that relationship? No. So, yeah, they're drawing a boundary, and again, because what do we do with boundaries? We respect them. Boundaries are there for you to respect them. That is how you have healthy relationships. Now, I want to change directions here a little bit, because it is one thing, and it's easy enough. It really is. Like, once you see it, once you understand your animal's body language, how they are communicating with you, this is their first language, guys. Once you can understand them, it's easy enough to recognize it, say, okay, like, that made you uncomfortable. What can we do instead? How can we get where we need to go? How can we still be close and affectionate, but without me making you uncomfortable? Easy enough to do. Very easy. But what if it's your dog and they're growling at another dog, right? That's a little bit trickier because you can't control what that dog is doing. You can't control what your dog is doing either, frankly. But it's a whole other ballgame. All of a sudden, you're in a different position, and yeah. So then is it okay to punish your dog for growling, or worse, or snarling and snapping and biting? This is it? I don't know. Does it get trickier? Because a lot of people, like, this is a new, a new detour, a new fork in the road where you're like, I don't know. Then is it okay? Because I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want that dog to get hurt. Like, I don't know what my dog might do. But guess what? It's still not okay because you want that warning system. What we do instead is, actually, first, what we do is recognize that dogs know that that's normal dog body language, that that's normal communication, and the vast majority of times, the other dog will recognize it and back off. Or if they don't, if the dogs do get into a bit of a scuffle, the vast majority of those times, we've got little Venn diagrams going on here, the vast majority of those times, there's not going to be any damage done. They're not going to get hurt. Yes, it sounds and looks very scary. It pushes our buttons. It makes us get very upset. But I'm making up statistics here, but like a good chunk of the time, yeah, they're gonna growl and bark and like get into like a fight, but they're gonna work it out and they're gonna walk away and they're not gonna hold a grudge. It's fine. They handle that way better than we do. Now, that said, that out of the way, we obviously don't want dogs to continue to be in this situation. If it's happening a lot, that's a problem. That means that there's something in this dynamic that's not working for these dogs. So we got to change the environment. We got to switch things up so that it's not happening. We can keep those. I mean, we could talk all day about like the differences, the nuances, the specifics about each individual situation. But basically, yeah, if dogs are getting into it, get those dogs away from each other. That's fine. If they're good friends and they play wonderfully most of the time, it's probably fine. Or if it's over a resource, remove the resource. All of a sudden, they're best buddies again, no problem. So, yeah, the majority of the time sounds very scary, looks very scary, but all in all, it's not that bad. It's just normal dog communication. And again, we're the species with the big brains. We can handle this. They can handle this, frankly. They're fine. But yeah, so we don't want this happening all the time. We don't want anyone actually getting hurt. If there is damage being done, we need to take this seriously. But it's normal communication, and you just let it go. Just let it go. It's fine. Take a deep breath. Shake it off. Let go of the stress that's built up because you're like, oh my God, I witnessed a dog fight. But like, it's okay. It really is. Now, where the training comes in. Ooh, the fun part. We can change how dogs feel in certain situations. Whether it's a dog who gets growly about a situation with humans, or they get growly about a situation with dogs, like we can teach them to feel differently in that situation. How amazing is that? That's like, this is incredible. I get super jazzed about because, like, I don't know, I just think it's magical. It's amazing. That we can actually change, like a dog who like doesn't feel comfortable with humans hanging around their dog bowl, for example, or around their bone, the dog who gets really guardy and snarly and growly, if you're even in the same room, like that dog, you can change the way they feel so that they are happy, loosey-goosey, waggy when you're in the room through training. And it's like, oh, it's so satisfying for me to like see that transformation. Like if that's your dog and you want to see that transformation, like, oh, you're going to feel really powerful having done that, having achieved that. And you're going to like, it is just delightful, you guys. This is why there are so many reasons why, but this is one of the reasons why I get so, like, I love training, because it is so cool. I don't even know how to say it better than that. It's just amazing. But the important thing to understand is that we are not addressing the growling. We are not dealing with the behavior of growling. We are getting at the underlying emotions that are causing the growling. And once you deal with the emotions that cause the growling, guess what? The growling goes away. No more growling, and the dog feels better. Everybody wins. So, if growling is a problem in your home, tackle it with training, but don't treat the growling. It's like, again, thank the dog for growling. Thank you for that warning, puppy. How can we do this differently? How can I meet your needs and mine without making you feel uncomfortable? And that is how you're going to build a solid foundation of trust. And trust is the most important thing in every relationship. If someone is making you uncomfortable, I feel like this is a PSA now. Like, if someone is making you uncomfortable and you have told them repeatedly that they are making you uncomfortable and they do nothing to change it, that relationship is not healthy. That full stop. Okay, bye. No, but seriously, like, that's, the difference is that our dogs can't leave. Like, they can't just decide, I'm done with you. Like, I'm out. It can't. Like, We have so much control over their life, and with that power comes with great power comes great responsibility, right? Like, it's our job to make sure that they feel comfortable, not their job to make sure that we feel comfortable. If they growl at us, it is our job to change something. Truth bombs. So, yeah. Oh, I better say this. So, for legal reasons, if you are the owner of a dog who bites, it is also your job not to bring that dog into public, not to put them into situations where someone else might accidentally make that dog feel uncomfortable enough to bite and cause damage, right? Like I said, dogs are a liability, and if you own them, right, because they are legally classified as property, it's your job. You're the one. Not the dog's fault, not even the stranger's fault, because people don't know this. They really don't, especially if they don't have dogs. They really may not have ever had access to this information. They may not know how to behave appropriately around unfamiliar dogs. I mean, literally, like, probably most people still don't know. And I'm here to try and teach them. But still, we can't assume, right? So if you're taking your dog out into the world, and yes, dogs should, I mean, it's really sad. Like, we don't want to limit dogs, their world to a small space or where they have to stay in the home or anything like that. Like that's really sad. That's, if it's affecting their quality of life, like, that's a problem. We want to find safe ways to meet their needs, to get them out, to go on their walks and get exercise and be exposed to parts of the world that they're comfortable in. Of course, a lot of times that means that they're going to be around other people. And so if you've got a dog who bites, we have to make sure that we're going places where there are no people or fewer people, or just people who know how to behave around dogs. God, I'm sorry. I'm so ranty. I'm so in Jennifer rage mode because it's everywhere. And like, some days I let it get to me, and today's one of those days. Like, I'm gonna cry now. But like, I don't know. I feel so passionately about it because that's my dog, right? And I don't ever want anything bad to happen to him, because the dynamic, the situation where like you have boundaries that aren't being respected, because I have experienced that my whole life. And most of us have, because we're all messed up. And because it's just not fair. And I hate that I'm crying right now. Sorry, I need a minute. I hope none of you are here for the first time, because that's a bad first impression, maybe. But I feel like most of you probably know me. You've seen this before. I'm a crier. Hey, but it really does. It gets me right here, because life sucks when the people that you love most don't know how to respect your boundaries. Thanks, Floyd. This is me. No, Yeah. All right, well, yeah, I don't know, you guys. It's really frustrating, and it's hurtful, and thanks, Karen. I do. Daisy's good about giving me love, and they are, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I've been an animal lover my whole life. Like I was just drawn to them, and I think a lot of us are, right? I mean, if you didn't start out that way, if you've got a dog now, you're probably an animal lover, right? You're at least a dog lover. And yeah, the love that they give us is, I mean, it's not unconditional, but boy, it's close, right? They are so generous, and they are so forgiving, and they are so tolerant, and they shouldn't have to have their feelings trampled over because they have a lot of love to give. And God, I identify with that so much, and it's why I feel so passionately about this. And so yeah, I'm gonna cry about it. There, I said it. So anyway, I'm gonna go and like edit the description and maybe put a trigger warning on this. Because I know that there's a lot of people out there who can identify with those feelings, and those are probably out the oh God, words are out the window now. Oh, Karen, I'm so sorry. I mean, are you crying right now too? Tell me I'm not alone. I'm so sorry. It's so hard to lose them, because they're like, dogs are so amazing, and they're loving, and they're so generous, and to lose them, like, yeah, that's the worst. I'm sorry. Crying is good. It means you care. This is your first time, Dottie. Oh, best impression. Well, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, this reaches some people and makes life better for them and for their dogs. I'm gonna wrap it up because, boy, once I get started, it's really hard to stop. So anyway, you guys, I have therapy after this. Oh my God, I just realized I have. I thought, yeah, let's just combine this all into one day. Just right in a row. Let's tackle the difficult dog topic, and then just go talk to my therapist. Down to 3 dogs now. She was 13 years old, and I bet, I mean, Karen, my heart goes out to you, because that takes, like, I don't know, either takes a long time, or we never really get over the loss of a dog. But thank you. We love you too. And we're thinking about you. I'm not canceling my appointment. No, let's just get it out of the way. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go take a breather, maybe get a glass of water. But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me and being understanding of my emotional outburst. Yeah. Thanks again. Thanks for hanging out. If you're not subscribed, I know you all are, but for anybody who sees the replay of this, ooh, thanks for hanging out again. And don't forget to hit subscribe, comment, share, like it, all the things. That helps support me being able to continue to do more of this. Ooh, if you even want to see that. Other ways to support the channel are in the video description. So I appreciate all of that. And have a great day, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.